If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Alright, let's talk about Dillon Gabriel, the man the Cleveland Browns hoped would be the next big thing. The so-called supercomputer quarterback whose mind was supposed to move faster than anyone else's on the field. 5 starts into his NFL career, though. That high-speed machine seems to be running on outdated software. The flashes of brilliance that had draft analysts, coaches, and fans buzzing haven't quite translated from his college tape to the pros. And the conversation around Gabriel has shifted from hidden gem to can he actually make it work at this level? The expectations were never sky high in terms of physical traits. Nobody ever mistook Gabriel for Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson in terms of arm strength or athleticism, but the Browns believed his football IQ, decision-making, and accuracy could compensate. They didn't draft him to outthrow or outrun anyone. They drafted him to outthink everyone. Yet right now, that much hype processing speed seems to have slowed to a crawl under NFL pressure. When Cleveland called Gabriel's name, most analysts saw it as a reach. A quarterback who didn't wow scouts with a cannon arm or a prototype frame. Going as early as he did raised plenty of eyebrows, but the Browns sold a vision. They compared his brain to a supercomputer, a guy who could break down defenses in real time, process multiple reads under pressure, and deliver strikes before defenders even knew what hit them. This wasn't a narrative the media invented. It was something the Browns themselves leaned into. During off-season workouts and training camp, word out of Bria was that Gabriel was lighting up the whiteboard, outmaneuvering coaches in film sessions and dropping dimes during 7-on-7s. It felt like they had found a diamond in the rough, a mental assassin who would win with timing, anticipation, and composure. But once the regular season kicked off, the tone changed fast. 5 games later, it's hard to find much evidence of that next-level processing on the field. The poise that once defined Gabriel's college career has turned into hesitation, and the calm under pressure has been replaced with a jittery urgency. Watching the alt-Wenny to film, you can see the problems play out like a slow-motion train wreck. Plays that should have developed into chunk gains never materialize. Routes open up, but Gabriel doesn't pull the trigger. Sometimes it's pressure collapsing the pocket too soon. Other times, he just doesn't trust what he's seeing. And even when he does, the throw often sails a bit high, comes out a tick late, or lacks the zip needed to hit the window before it closes. Now, to be fair, not everything is on him. The Browns' offensive line hasn't exactly been a wall, and the timing with his receivers, especially newcomers like Jerry Jeudy, is still developing. Drops have killed drives, and penalties have turned third-down manageables into third-down impossibles. But even accounting for that, the film doesn't lie. Gabriel isn't seeing the field the way you'd expect from someone touted for elite vision and rapid mental processing. It's almost as if the supercomputer is stuck buffering. The rhythm isn't there. He's second-guessing himself, bypassing open routes to check it down, and leaving potential big plays on the table. One of the most glaring examples came late in a recent game. A crucial 4th-and-1 with the Browns down just 1 score. Everything about that play screamed, make the right read, get the ball out, keep the drive alive. The design was solid. David Njoku on a sail route, Jerry Jeudy running and out from the backfield, and the protection sliding right to pick up the pressure. Gabriel's assignment was clear. Recognize the blitzing corner, make a quick decision, and fire. But instead of trusting his read and delivering the ball to either of his two open options, he hesitated, took the sack, and turned the ball over on downs in a game of inches. It was the kind of moment that defines young quarterbacks, and not in the way you'd hope. That single play sums up his early season perfectly. The opportunities are there. The coaching staff is scheming up answers. The receivers are creating windows, but Gabriel isn't pulling the trigger. It's like watching someone who studied for the test but freezes once the paper hits the desk. And maybe that's part of the growing pains of transitioning from college to the pros. After all, processing speed at Oklahoma or UCF is one thing, but NFL defense's disguise looks at a completely different level. Safeties show one shell pre-snap and rotate into another before the ball is even out. Linebackers bait throws, corners sit on routes, and every mistake gets punished. Still, the Browns didn't draft him to look lost. They drafted him because they believed he could handle all that. When Dane Brugler from The Athletic broke down Gabriel before the draft, he highlighted his calm under fire, his ability to navigate chaos, and his patience to go through progressions. Brugler's words painted a picture of a quarterback who could thrive in structure, and out of it, someone who could stand tall against the rush and made plays when everything fell apart. Those strengths are what earned Gabriel a 4th-round grade, not his arm, not his athleticism, but his mind. Yet so far, that mind hasn't translated into production. Whether it's because the game is moving too fast or because he doesn't yet trust his protection, Gabriel's decision-making looks reactive instead of anticipatory. And for a quarterback built on timing and rhythm, that's a dangerous place to be. You can tell he's feeling it too. Watch his body language on the sideline. The way he looks at the tablet. The way he talks with the offensive coordinator. There's a subtle frustration there. Like he knows what he's supposed to do but can't quite get it to click. He's not panicking, but he's pressing. Every throw feels heavier. Every drive feels like a test he can't afford to fail. And for a rookie quarterback, that's a brutal mental load to carry. Once your confidence starts to crack, your mechanics usually follow. The feet get restless, the shoulders open too soon, the ball comes out late or drifts high. It becomes a cycle. Doubt breeds hesitation. Hesitation breeds mistakes. Mistakes breed more doubt. The Browns coaching staff has been publicly supportive, of course. They're saying all the right things about development, patience, and growth, but behind closed doors, you have to imagine they're looking at the tape and wondering how long they can keep this experiment going. The roster is built to win now. Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, and Amari Cooper aren't getting younger and wasting winnable games because your quarterback can't process the defense fast enough isn't sustainable. The Browns have seen this movie before. Young quarterback, high hopes, flashes of promise, followed by inconsistency and frustration. Gabriel doesn't need to be a superstar. He just needs to be functional, but right now, he's not there. What's next for Dillon Gabriel depends on how quickly he can recalibrate, both mentally and mechanically. He doesn't have the margin for error that a physically gifted quarterback has. He can't rely on a 70-yard bomb to make up for a missed read. His whole game is predicated on timing, accuracy, and anticipation. If any of those three are off, the whole structure collapses. The encouraging part is that these are fixable issues, at least in theory. Quarterbacks have recovered from slow starts before, but to do that, Gabriel needs to settle down, trust what he's seeing, and stop trying to play perfect football. Sometimes, the best play is just making the simple throw on time. The Browns coaching staff can help by simplifying the offense, more quick game concepts, more defined reads, maybe a heavier dose of play action to freeze linebackers and give Gabriel a cleaner picture. Let him get into rhythm throws early in games, build some confidence, and then gradually expand the playbook. It's the same blueprint that's helped other processing-based quarterbacks find their footing. The key is to stop overloading him mentally. When you label a guy a supercomputer, it's easy to forget he's still human. Ultimately, Dillon Gabriel's story isn't written yet. 5 games is a small sample size, and plenty of quarterbacks have stumbled out of the gate before finding their footing. But right now, the film tells a simple truth. The mind that was supposed to separate him from everyone else hasn't been enough. Maybe it's the speed of the game. Maybe it's confidence. Maybe it's just the natural growing pains of learning to read NFL defenses. Whatever it is, the Browns need him to reboot fast. Because if the supercomputer doesn't start processing soon, Cleveland might be searching for a new signal caller sooner than they ever expected. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. It seems the rumor mill around the Cleveland Browns just got a turbo boost, and honestly, fans are already buzzing with anticipation, speculation, and let's be honest, a little bit of disbelief. The latest whisper circulating in NFL circles is that ASJr, one of the most talked about defensive backs of the offseason, has touched down in Cleveland. Yes, you heard that right, and the implications for the Browns secondary could be seismic. Now, let's be clear, ASJr hasn't signed a contract just yet. There's no ink on paper, no official announcement, and yet, sources close to the team suggest that his presence alone is already starting to reshape how the coaching staff is thinking about their defensive backfield. The Browns, a franchise that has been notoriously conservative in terms of splashy offseason moves, suddenly find themselves at the center of what could be a strategic masterstroke or, at the very least, a high-stakes gamble that fans are dying to see unfold. The idea that ASJr has arrived in Cleveland without a contract feels almost cinematic. like the setup to a sports drama where the hero steps onto the field, and the crowd collectively holds its breath, waiting to see if this gamble will pay off. There's a sense of urgency in the air, a kind of tension that you can practically feel radiating from First Energy Stadium. Even if the official channels are holding tight and offering nothing more than vague hints about ongoing discussions, the Browns secondary, long a point of frustration for fans and analysts alike, is suddenly being whispered about in hushed tones that suggest transformation. Coaches are reportedly taking a fresh look at depth charts, defensive schemes, and even personnel groupings, wondering aloud how ASJr's skill set could fit into a unit that has struggled to maintain consistency over the past seasons. For a city that lives and breathes football, the mere possibility of adding a player of ASJr's caliber even before contracts are signed or formal negotiations are complete has reignited hope, speculation, and debate among fans and media alike. You can imagine the locker room chatter, veteran players wondering how this newcomer might shift the dynamics, rookies watching with wide-eyed anticipation, and coaching staff quietly recalculating schemes to accommodate a defensive back who could be the missing piece they've been hunting for. Sources hint that ASJr's skill set, versatility, and experience are exactly what the Browns have been lacking. While details remain scarce, there's talk that he could seamlessly slot into multiple roles, whether as a boundary corner, a slot specialist, or even as a hybrid safety capable of reading the quarterback's eyes and reacting in a split second. For a team that has struggled with giving up big plays in critical moments, the potential addition of ASJr is sparking more than just excitement. It's sparking a genuine sense of possibility that the Browns secondary could go from a liability to a competitive advantage almost overnight. Of course, there's always the shadow of what if hovering over these scenarios. What if the contract negotiations fall through? What if the player doesn't gel with the system? What if injuries, scheme mismatches, or off-field distractions throw a wrench into what currently seems like a promising situation? The beauty and the drama of this rumor is that all of those questions hang in the air, tantalizingly unresolved, leaving fans and analysts alike constantly recalculating the odds of this becoming the off-season's headline story. Whispers from inside the organization suggest that the Browns front office is handling this with surgical precision. Meetings have been described as intense but highly focused, with discussions not just about salary or guarantees, but about the long-term vision of the secondary. The coaching staff is reportedly weighing every possible scenario, from immediate starting roles to rotational opportunities that could maximize both the player's impact and the team's flexibility. This is a team clearly aware that the secondary has been its Achilles heel, and the arrival of ASJr, even as an unsigned, unofficial presence, is a signal that Cleveland is not content to tread water. They want to swim with the Sharks, to compete at a level that their fans have been craving for years. And while no contract has been finalized, the very act of ASJr stepping onto Cleveland soil sends a message louder than any press release. The Browns are serious, and they are willing to pursue talent aggressively to fix what has been a glaring gap in their roster. From the perspective of the fans, this has all the hallmarks of a perfect storm of hope and hype. Social media channels are already exploding with speculation, mock rosters are being rewritten, and YouTube comment sections are lighting up with bold predictions and passionate arguments over how ASJr could change the defensive landscape. Some are envisioning a shutdown secondary, one that could give the Browns a legitimate chance to dominate passing attacks in their division. Others are cautioning patience, reminding everyone that presence alone doesn't guarantee production. But the conversation itself, the buzz, the sheer energy around the idea of ASJr in Cleveland even before a single snap or official signature is already shaping the narrative of the team's offseason. Analysts are digging into past performance, tape is being scrutinized, and fantasy football enthusiasts are recalculating potential points for defensive matchups. It's fascinating to watch the ripple effect of a single rumor as it spreads, morphs, and grows, all fueled by the tantalizing uncertainty of what could be. Meanwhile, inside the organization, sources suggest there's a blend of optimism and pragmatism. Coaches reportedly see ASJr not just as a talent upgrade, but as a potential mentor for younger players, someone who can instill professional habits, elevate communication in the secondary, and foster a culture of accountability. Even veteran defenders are said to be quietly excited, recognizing that competition in practice and game prep can only make the unit stronger. There's a sense that, with or without a formal contract in hand, The presence of a high-caliber player, like ASJr, is already shifting the Browns' mentality, raising expectations, and forcing the team to think bigger if negotiations are successful. The Browns could very well be staring at a secondary that goes from being a glaring weakness to a potential strength capable of influencing the outcomes of tight games, division matchups, and even playoff aspiration. And yet, for all the excitement, there's a subtle undercurrent of tension. Contract negotiations in the NFL are notoriously complex, and until ink hits paper, nothing is guaranteed. Every source cautiously emphasizes that the arrival of ASJr in Cleveland is a signal of intent, not a confirmation of commitment. Agents, financial considerations, roster dynamics, and timing all play into whether this buzz becomes reality or fizzles into a missed opportunity. For now, though, the city, the fans, and the media are riding the wave of anticipation, eager to see whether the Browns can turn rumor into reality and reshape a secondary that has long been the team's Achilles heel. Every day counts. Every practice becomes a story, and every informal sighting of ASJr at team facility sparks another round of speculation, as observers try to predict how this high-profile, unsigned presence might influence strategies, rotations, and the team's approach to an upcoming season that has suddenly become a lot more intriguing. In the end, the story of ASJr in Cleveland is more than just a transaction waiting to happen. It's a narrative of hope, strategy, and risk. A reminder that in the NFL, as in life, the possibilities often lie in the uncertain moments, in the whispers and sightings, in the negotiations that are still taking shape. Fans are watching closely. Analysts are dissecting every hint, and the Browns themselves are navigating a delicate balance between opportunity and caution. If all goes well, ASJr could emerge as a cornerstone of a reimagined secondary, a catalyst for a defense that suddenly has the potential to dominate the field. But even if negotiations stall, the very presence of this rumor, the drama, and the anticipation it generates already underscores a simple truth: the Browns are alive in the conversation, and Cleveland is buzzing with excitement in a way it hasn't in years. Whether ASJr signs or not, his arrival, contract or no contract, is already leaving an indelible mark on the team, the fans, and the narrative of the upcoming season, a story that's just beginning to unfold, full of tension, speculation, and above all, possibility. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!